No surprise here, Bill Belichick continues to keep the Patriots' offensive game plan under wraps when it comes to who is going to be calling plays. He was asked about it at practice yesterday, and Belichick said, quote, "What plays are we calling? Minicamp plays? We'll get to it when we get to it." Meanwhile, Mac Jones says that offensive assistant coach Joe Judge is very beneficial to me as a quarterback. Shannon, all right, shed some light here. Who do you think is going to be calling plays when we kick off this season?
Well, I think I said I believe it would be Joe Judge. I believe the guy that's working closely with the quarterback. Yeah, I do, Skip. I believe, because I understand that he does not have any offensive experience, Skip. He was a special teams coordinator with the Patriots previously. He did play some college quarterback. Don't know how good he was at that, Skip. But he was a special teams coordinator with the Patriots, got the head coaching job at the Giants, which was a total disaster. Now he's back in New England. And I believe because Mac Jones kind of let the cat out of the bag when he says he's been very beneficial, I believe Joe Judge will call the plays. Now, they do have Matt Patricia, who was an offensive coordinator, who was on the defensive side, left, became the head coach of Detroit Lions. He's back. I think he's working with the offensive line. He could possibly call plays. But, Skip, for me, I would say if I had to bet anything, I would probably say Joe Judge. Now, Coach Belichick, and the only scenario that I can remember having a defensive coordinator go call plays, you mentioned it, Tom Landry. He was the defensive coordinator with the Giants. Vince Lombardi, Coach Lombardi was the offensive coordinator. But I believe Coach Landry always wanted to call plays on the offensive side of the football. So when he became a head coach, normally defensive coordinators, when they become head coaches, they hire OCs and let them call the plays.
Nope.
He hired an OC in name only, because he didn't let really Coach Reeves until like maybe the last couple of years. Coach Reeves would make some suggestions, call a play here or there. That's why it was so hard for his offensive coaches to get head jobs, because he was calling the plays. Like, well, you're not even calling the plays. How are we going to give you the head job and you're not even calling the plays in Dallas? So Coach Landry wanted to call offensive plays even when he was on the defensive side of the football with the Giants. So when he finally got his head coaching job, that's what he did. I don't believe Coach Belichick is going to call offensive plays. I could be wrong. You could be absolutely right, because I believe that is your point of contention. Mm-hmm. But I believe it's going to be Joe Judge. I believe the guy that's in Mac Jones' ear currently will be the guy that's in his ear during the season and will be calling plays. So I'm going to say Joe Judge. I want Joe Judge plus 175.
Plus 175. Are you proposing a bet on this right now? If you want one, I'll take it.
Okay, what you want? You want a case or two cases that Joe Judge called the plays instead of Coach Belichick?
I want 2 cases on Belichick right here, right now. Okay, I got it. Shannon Sharp, somewhere as we speak, Tom Brady is chuckling. Maybe he's laughing out loud, because obviously this is all aimed at Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr., who obviously went straight to Tampa and took a 7-9 team, the Succaneers, to a Super Bowl championship, and who last year at least made the playoffs again, and for a moment had the eventual champs on the ropes in the second playoff game at his place. It was 27-all, and then you know what happened. Cooper Kupp happened. But the point is that Belichick is scrambling now. He is flailing. He is desperate to try to catch up and equal Brady in overall resume. And the only way he can do it is he's got a big hole in his resume, because he's never done anything on the offensive side of the ball. And I think at age 70, he woke up and said, hey, it's time for me to do this. I run this operation. Could be a ship of fools, but I'm going to do this. I'm going to bring in my 2 most trusted assistants, the 2 guys that he believes in the most because they believe in him, Patricia and Judge. And all of a sudden, I'm going to make Joe Judge my offensive coordinator. Joe Judge was a high school quarterback in Pennsylvania, but he went down to Mississippi State. And Shannon, he never played a lick of quarterback for Mississippi State. Okay. He immediately became a special teams player. He was very good in class, way to go. But he rose up the ladder, as you just pointed out, as a special teams coach. And now you're going to let him call plays? I think not. And my favorite quote maybe of the whole NFL offseason was he was talking about his quarterback. Let me find this here. His quarterback, the guy that you loved the most coming out of the draft last year, what did he call himself about Tom Brady? He called himself 15.
MJ10.
Yeah, MJ10. Yeah, MJ10. Okay, so MJ10 says that he and Joe Judge are now teaching each other. They're teaching each other. He's a second-year quarterback. What are you talking about?
Smart.
You have a quarterback coach and an offensive coordinator, and you're telling me that you're teaching each other the ropes? This is how we do it? Because he has to probably teach Joe Judge a lot more than Joe Judge can teach him. Well, this is...
Yeah, well, Skip, the terminology. Obviously, the terminology he's more familiar with. Joe Judge has really never heard that terminology. He was on the... He was there when Josh McDaniel was calling the plays. But, Skip, as a special teams guy, you're not really paying any attention to that. You have your own issues. You got to worry about punt return, kick return, field goal block, PAT, and all those kind of things. So the last thing you're worried about is who's calling the plays on the offensive side. You better make sure you don't get a punt block. You better make sure you don't get a kick block or return set up against you, or Coach Belichick going to have you walk the plank. So I just think the thing is that Mac Jones, because he's very familiar, now, Skip, he's not as versed in the offense as he's going to be, but I think he can help Joe Judge get a better understanding, a better grasp of the offense. But I do believe it's going to be Joe Judge calling the plays. I don't believe you believe Coach Belichick want this on his resume because he can show, you see, Tom, if I'd have been calling the plays, you might have been 9-0 in the Super Bowl.
That's what he wants to do. And he said there's no reason to name a play caller yet because it's just OTAs. But it was pointed out in several stories that I read last night that in 11-on-11 at the end of the OTAs yesterday, Bill Belichick called the plays. He is positioning himself to call the plays. He has raised his son up to a point that he will let him call defensive signals. Obviously, Belichick will have input into the defensive game plan as well as the offensive game plan. And then Belichick will wear, again, the headset connected to Mac Jones, and he will call the plays this fall. You can book it, and if you want 2 cases, I think you just accepted that bet. I got it because I will win that bet. Joe Judge calling plays is laughable to me. That it's starting to feel like an entire ship of fools, and there have been reports up in New England that the players are very concerned about the offensive direction the team is headed.
Well, you better hope Coach Belichick doesn't call plays and they mess around and get to the Super Bowl. Woo! Woo! You be in a heap of trouble, Skip.
I will bet you 20 cases right now New England does not get to the Super Bowl next year. Would you like that bet? I got 20 cases.
No.
I
want no parts of that.
I could build a 4th Super Bowl. I mean, a 4th swimming pool in my backyard because I would need a 4th for those 20 cases.
I want no parts of that bet of Coach Belichick getting to the Super Bowl calling plays. 0. Okay. But if it were to happen, we're just doing hypotheticals. If that were to happen, that would be greater than anything you know who's accomplished.
Seriously?
Just saying.
To get to 1 Super Bowl calling plays, that would suddenly tilt the playing field in Belichick's favor?
Well, Coach Belichick already has 2 as a defensive coordinator. He would have 7 as an offense. He would have 7 as a head coach. And now you're talking about a guy 70 years old that's never called offensive plays, calling plays, getting a team to the Super Bowl and winning it. And you don't think it's not like that would be like Ryan Tannehill playing wide receiver and winning the Super Bowl as a quarterback. Coach Belichick, a defensive coordinator, never calling plays on the offensive side, getting a team to the Super Bowl and calling the offensive plays of a game-winning team, of the winning team. Come on, Skip.
But Belichick cost Brady 2 Super Bowls because he cost him the first Eli. Yes, he did. He cost him the first Eli Super Bowl. He gave up a 75-yard drive and 13 plays to Eli Manning. Really? And they needed not just a field goal, they needed to go score a touchdown because Brady had done what he always does with 2 minutes left. He scored the touchdown that put New England up 14-10. And then Eli happened because Belichick's defense didn't happen. And then, of course, Brady throws for 505 against Philadelphia, and Belichick gives up 41 to the backup quarterback. He cost Brady 2 Super Bowls.
Well, he won him the Super Bowl with the Rams. He won he won 2 Super Bowls against the Rams, and he won him the one against Seattle. So I think they're even.
I recall Brady winning those Super Bowls with classic fourth-quarter drives. But anyway.
What about, hold on, the greatest show on turf with 4 Hall of Famers, he stifled them.
He did.
Did Brady do that?
I've given you that, except Brady also drove them by completing 5 straight passes into the 49-yard field goal range that won the game.
Had Coach Belichick defense not done what it's done, there would have been no need because if they'd have scored their average, which was like 35, 36 points a game, Brady that little last second drive would have meant nothing. But Coach Belichick, and they got a defensive touchdown. You remember Ty Law? Ty Law did have a pick 6. So you won 20-7, but you really scored 14 points. If we're just being truthful, Skip, and I like to being truthful today.
Shannon, you know and I know, if Belichick calls plays all year next year, it's going to be a disaster for that team. That is not
that's
his
what you're
forte.
hoping.
I'm not hoping. I'm knowing.
Yes, you are, because you want to come out here. You want to come out here and pile on. You know how you are.
I will.
He's terrible. Exactly.
I will. And Brady is on his way to 8. 8 is great, and he's on his way next year.
Nah, Skip, I don't really see that happening. I don't really see that happening.
Skip, I got to give you big kudos for the moxie.